All right, today my guest is Gustavo. He's out of Midland, Texas. Goes by Gus. He is an inspiration for a lot of us, especially us that have been in the business for a long time. Gus is young in the industry, just a couple of years in the industry, and he is crushing it. Every time I look up, he's got another client under contract, another client sold, and he's not going to social media and doing some big YouTube channel or some big Instagram or some big Facebook uh, ad campaign. He's doing it by grinding. And so we're going to get back to the agent grind. This is what we all did when we first got in the business. And I think there's things that we should be doing and learning in our business that Gus has been doing. So Gus, welcome.
Hi, welcome, guys. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Gus, walk us through a little bit of kind of how you got started, where you're at, and what you're looking like transactions at the moment.
Well, as far as yeah, I'm based on Midland, Texas, and I started because well, I'm a first generation. Growing up, first generation, I saw my parents struggle, so I wanted to do something different that what they did. They were in the restaurant business. They went up to be managers and stuff. So I started off straight out of high school working in restaurants. And then from there, one of my buddies, he opened up a brokerage. He was 20 at the time. So to me, that was pretty cool. He had nice cars. So just seeing the nice stuff that he had, I wanted to have it as well. So he brought me in, and then from there, that's how I started my career. I started off on the team, and then from there I went to EXP, and now I've been 2 years here at Real Brokerage, and been liking it so far. As far as deals, right now I have 14. Three are pending. They should be closing in the next 2 weeks. Um, I mostly work with buyers right now. Out of the 14, 10 are buyers for listings, right? And I mean, I could break down where I got them from. I have like all my notes here and stuff. Do you want me to break them down?
Yeah, we'll ask that question, man. I like the hustle because you're hustling and you're about to cap right now, which is pretty impressive as
Mhm.
well because all of
Yes.
us love to cap, and so you're on your way to capping and then hitting elite. So
Yeah.
let's talk about that because where are your clients coming from?
Yeah. So 14 deals, right? Four came from cold calling, six came from referrals, sphere of influence, and four came from social media.
Okay, so break that for me down again. So you have four from cold calling. We're gonna. This is exactly what Marissa was asking about a second ago. What was the next?
Next one, six from sphere of influence or referrals.
Okay,
And
and
then
then
the other four came from posting on social media, TikTok, videos, stuff like that.
all right, cool. So let's start with cold calling. Why are you cold calling, and how are you doing it?
So the way I'm cold calling is pretty simple, right? I do circle prospecting. I just get it. Where I'm from, there's only like 120, 130K people, right? So eventually, if you're doing so many calls, you're gonna reach everybody, including for sale by owners and expired. So that's the way I look at it. Maybe I should, break it down to expires for sale by owners later on. But I just call them, tell them, hey, this is Gus. I'm a local realtor here. Is there anything I could do for you? This house you sold, is there anything I could do for you? And I just let them talk, and most of the time they're like, no, we're okay. Then I tell them, oh, well, is there a go-to realtor that you would use if you ever need a service? Yeah, and then I just go based on that, get their email. I watch a lot of Ricky Carruth on YouTube, right? I don't know if you guys have heard of.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, on YouTube he's doing his thing, and he uses Redx and builds email lists and sends them weekly emails. So that's what I've been doing for the past year and a half. Try to be consistent, right? Because I'm actually busy with real work, so I try to do 2-3 hours a day.
So you're calling 2-3 hours a day. You're calling circle prospecting right now using the
Mhm.
Redx.
I use Mojo Dialer. For me, it's a little bit more accurate.
Okay, so Mojo Dialer. That's the question that everybody asks. What do you call? What do you use to
Mhm.
call? So why currently are you not calling expires withdrawals?
I don't know. That's a good question, Jeremy. I should be targeting those people maybe. Circle prospecting, it's more faster. And while I call people, so I use the triple line, right? So I'm
Mhm.
just going through numbers. I'll probably make like 600, 700 calls a day. And while I'm doing that, since it's a little bit more easy, it's more easier to talk to them. I'm messaging people on my social media as well. You'd be surprised the amount of people that you can get from just sending them a simple question saying, do you know anybody who's looking to move? Literally from that, while I'm calling, I'm also doing that, and and that's how I get business from that.
Okay. And part of that you're getting from your sphere. So we're gonna talk about that in a second. What's your follow-up though? So you call me and I'm like, hey bud, I'm not looking to sell. Maybe in like 5 months, I might have that conversation. What's your follow-up look like? Are you using Lofty? How are you making sure you follow them back?
Yeah, I use Lofty, so I send them. First of all, I send them a video saying, "Hey, so they could put a name to the face, face to the name." And I send them a video introducing myself, saying, "Hey, you have any questions or anything at all? I'm here to help." Right. So that's the first thing I do. Then I send them weekly emails with stats and market analysis, local businesses, anything that I can think of weekly to my whole database. And from there, if they tell me to call in 5 months, I just reach out 2 months before, right? And start as it gets closer, I start calling them more and more recent until eventually we meet up, right? Because that's the goal, to meet up with them in person and talk, right?
Awesome. Okay. So let's talk about how you're getting your sphere to give you referrals. I mean, we all could get better at getting our sphere to give us referrals. Marissa is the bomb.com at getting referrals. She puts on awesome events at Tom Ferry. She's always in front of her past clients. So I want to hear from you how you're rocking it.
Me?
No, I hear from Gus, and then I definitely.
I thought you were talking to her. All right,
no, I definitely want to hear Marissa. I'll let you go, and then I want to hear from Marissa. This is all hands on deck meeting today, guys.
Okay, cool.
If you're getting picked on.
Getting picked on. Yeah. So, kind of resum that question. I lost the question.
How are you getting your sphere to give you referrals, and how are you getting business? Because that's a good chunk of your business.
Yeah, I mean, I just so I get word of mouth. Most of my clients, they just recommend me, and I'm out there networking. So most of my sphere of influence are restaurants/bar owners, right? That's where I started working before real estate, and from there I leveraged that out and made contacts, and they worked with me. So from there, they already trust me, because there's three goals that you should check mark with every single person, right? Do they know you, right? So Facebook or social media or whatever, I'm constantly posting on there 7 to 10 times a day. So that's how they could get to see who you are, right? They need to know who you are. Second, they need to trust you. So I mean, I work with these people, or I help their friends, which they already trust me, right? Or I'm on social media posting this and that builds trust, right? So that's the second checkpoint. And the third one is people need to like you. So my personality, right? So I mean, these people like me, and that's how my sphere of influence eventually start recommending me, and they see me on social media. So that's my weekly email to them.
Love it. Marissa, how are you getting your sphere to send you clients?
I spend a lot of time doing things with them. So I either put on events, like in November for Thanksgiving, I'll put on an event at a wine bar with music, wine, cheese. I love throwing events, and I give them, they sign up for a pie for Thanksgiving. So I do it the Tuesday before Thanksgiving every single year. They tell me if they want apple, pecan, or pumpkin. They come and pick it up, and really they're saying that they're coming for the pie, but really they just want the wine, the cheese, and crackers. And then they all get to talk about, how do you know Marissa? And I was her client. That's how I met her. Things like that. Or honestly, Jeremy, just like the stuff I do. Just I play pickleball, I run, I go to the gym, I go to the mom happy hours. I just picked up 2 clients from mom happy hour last night.
Gus, there you go. You guys started going to the mom happy hours, bro.
Gus, can I ask him a question?
Yes.
So Gus, you mentioned earlier that you were sending people DMs, like you send them like a video or something like that. Are you DMing people that you don't know?
Oh no. Oh no. Like that's for follow up. That's whenever somebody's like, all right, cool. Yeah, if like whenever I call them and they're like, all right, it's cool to keep in touch. I'm like, okay, great. From there, that's when I send the video. I don't just send them to random people.
Oh, okay. So this is when you're doing the circle prospecting.
Right.
And what specifically do you say in your circle prospecting? Like right now, your circle prospecting, what are you saying?
Yeah, so ring, they're like, hello, and then I'm like, hey, Mr. James, with like, the tone Mr. James. And that person be like, yes. And then I'll be like, hey, this is Gus. I'm a local realtor here with Real Broker. The reason I'm calling you today is to see if you were ever, no, I tell them, well, I base it on recent sales, right? So if a house just sold in the neighborhood, I tell them, hey, this house just sold on Banana Street. Is there anything I could do for you? Right. So with that, they already trust you because you're giving them a fact, right? And then they're like, no, I'm not looking to sell anytime soon. I'll be like, okay, great. Well, is there a go-to realtor that you would use if you ever need service? And most of the people say, well, oh no, this and that. And then you kind of you handle the objections. And the goal of the whole call is to get their email. Once you get their email, you send them a video. I send them a video telling them, hey, my name is Gus. If you ever need anything, here's my information. Right.
Got it. So simple, straightforward. I like it.
Yeah, I try to go straightforward. And, while I'm doing that, I'm messaging people on Facebook too, like on iMessenger or DMing. But I don't send them a video. I send them like a simple message saying, "Hey, do you know anybody who's looking to move?" So I'm doing two things at once.
And you do that with people that you don't necessarily know.
No, my friends. So I follow people. It's kind of weird, but I follow people. I have a lot of. So it's a small town, so a lot of people know a lot of people. So I send friend requests to people who have a lot of mutual friends. And those people, they see me that I'm posting all day, so I try to send out 15 to 20 messages every single phone session, and you'd be surprised, I got in 400K 500K deals, and they're like, yeah, I'm looking to buy. I'm like, all right, cool, what's your number? And then we talk, and just by sending them a simple message.
That's so awesome. I'm also first generation American, and I appreciate your hustle.
Thank you.
Well, what I love about this is he messages me like every other week. Do you know anybody looking to sell? I'm like, bro, I live in Austin, so it gets a little awkward. But no, just kidding. No, so let's talk about the mindset that goes behind what you're doing, right? Because look, you're like you said, you're first generation here. You're hustling. Like this is hustle. This is what real hustle looks like, and I feel like a lot of us agents forget what real hustle looks like. We feel like, oh, this is a challenge. I'm dealing with this challenging client. You're selling listings or working with a lot of buyers. What is the mindset in your day?
It's a numbers game. Everything's a numbers game. The more people you talk to, the more you open the doors to getting deals. It's that simple. It's a numbers game, right?
So what is like I guess let me just take a step back then. What's your overall goal for the year? Like what's the goal that you want to hit, and are you going to feel comfortable when you get that, or do you really want to push through that?
Well, my goal for the end of the year is to hit 29 deals, make 210 gross commission. And I want to eventually go more towards the listing side. So that's what I'm looking forward to do more, because most of my deals are buyers. So that's what I'm shooting for.
So what's your plan to start to migrate to get more sellers?
I should start doing more of the prospecting, because it's on and off. I do it 2-3 hours because I'm out there showing houses, and it's very time consuming. So eventually I want to partner up with somebody who can help me with the buyers, and me focus more on the prospecting, start doing a little bit more of the for sale by owners and expireds as well.
Okay. All right. So how does your day look? How do you prioritize your day to make sure you're hustling every day?
Right. So I try to go sleep at around 10, 11, the latest. I wake up around 4:50 to 5 around that time. I'm doing jiu-jitsu right now. So I drive to jiu-jitsu at 6. I'll be finished by 7. 7, I read for like 40 minutes. 8 o'clock, I get ready. I'm in a couple Reddit groups, so I do a little bit of role play sometimes. Get ready / role play. And then from 8:30 to 11:30, I'm just calling, right? I'm just hitting the phones, going number to number. And then I have lunch. And then from there, I try to have appointments for the day, right, with my buyers listings. Then if I don't have anything to do, I just call again. Then after 6, I'm pretty much done. I'm with my girlfriend. We just relax, chill, watch movies, whatever.
You know, I interview a lot of people and talk to a lot of people, and we always hear about the successes in our business, right? We always talk about social media. On social media, you're talking about all of your successes. What do you think that's something that you can improve that'll actually help you?
Something that I can improve. Maybe getting a little bit more involved with other realtors to see what they're doing, so I could learn from that, right? Like this is what I'm doing right now. Maybe do a little bit more of this to see what I can actually improve on. That's what I need to improve, to see what I can improve, right?
Yeah, okay, I like that. You know, look, you don't know what you don't know, so it's always good to network, especially where you are. There's not a lot of real agents there. Granted, there's not a lot of real agents on this call, or not exclusively. So it's always good to get around more people. I'm around Marissa all the time, almost too much. Geez, she DMs me. She DMs me like 3 times a day. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Gustavo,
No,
I also want him to buy a house in Dallas. That's why I'm DMing him.
And then in Dallas.
Yeah, she's like, why are you in Austin? That place sucks. But let's get behind the mindset, right? So I want to get to your mindset to this, because it's hard for a lot of us to go back to cold calling. When you're talking about cold calling, Marissa is literally, shivers are going down her spine. Frank is thinking, oh my God, I don't even want to get near a phone, right? So, and Kelvin over here, Kelvin's like, I keep my phone in my pocket all day. I don't call. Go take me through the mindset of like, okay, I'm getting ready to make these calls. I know Frank loves cold calling. I'm giving you all a hard time. Go through the mindset. Be set up, right? Because I did cold calling for a long time, man. And you tell me about cold calling, and it's like you just poked me in the eye. So, how do I get pumped in the morning? Do I got to go do jiu-jitsu in the morning? How do you do it?
No, so I mean, I still get a little bit nervous when, I'm getting ready to call, or when I am calling. I feel like if you're getting nervous, you're doing something right. So if the mindset behind that is if you're not getting nervous, it might not be approving you, right? That's the way I see it. One of my buddies, he's a DJ, and he started to pop off, and he's getting to a point where he's meeting big time artists, and he also does pictures for my houses, for my listings, and I hired him to do a couple listing pictures, and I told him that's pretty cool that you're meeting big time people, all these musicians in the Latino world. And he told me, I was like, do you ever get nervous? And he told me the same exact thing, that one of the artists told him that he gets nervous when he gets on stage, right? He gets nervous every single time. And if you're not getting nervous, you're not doing something that's approving you, right?
I love it, man. That's a great message. Because I think a lot of times we get too nervous and then we just don't do it. Oh, this is too much pressure. I can't do it. Marissa, every time I see her go to do her videos, I know she's like shaking in her boots before she hits record.
I am every single time before we do those videos. It's getting better.
Right. And you want to get to a new level. I mean, your brain is designed to avoid problems, right? So if your brain's trying to avoid you to do that, maybe you should do it, because maybe that will improve you. And now after you're not scared, you want to go to the next one. What makes me nervous? So instead of writing down, I've been reading this in one of my buddies, he told me about this, what he does and help him. He told me that instead of writing down your goals, he writes down what kind of problems he wants, because that's how your brain is designed, right? So might as well use that to your advantage. Okay, well, my problem should be maybe your first problem was not paying. I can't pay rent. I'm broke. And then your next problem should be, oh wow, I have too much, too much deals going on. Maybe I should hire somebody. And then your next part. So you just want to kind of, switch how you do stuff, right? The mindset of it.
Tatiana said, I used to have a major CCA, creative call avoidance, but am much better now. So yeah, I agree. Even now, it's funny is even now when I go to do these, I've been doing these every Friday, I get nervous every time right before. I'm like, oh, I want to puke. So Marissa, you being here has actually made my day. So thank you. Justin, what do you got, bud?
So I've long time listener, first time. No, I'm just kidding.
I love it.
One thing that I've struggled with is over the years, because I've been doing video very sporadically. And when I say very sporadically, I mean it changes platforms, it changes what it's about. But I struggle with that when I go back and I watch and I do things that, and this is my limiting belief, but like I don't find value in a lot of the content that's getting pushed out, whether it's myself or anybody else, because to me it's just such randomness on things that I feel people should already know. Whereas with the content, so like I subscribe to a handful of people for different reasons, but it's truly like content. So like with you, Jeremy, you're specifically talking usually on yours is specific areas, specifically where people want to be, the pros, the cons. And I'll use Rod Allen as another example because
Rod's great.
Him for a while. And he's mirror and matched what you've done and taken his area to where it needed to be. But for me, because I know in my area, there's like 2 people total that do content across our entire metro, which is going to be about 10 towns. And I just find it hard to, I guess, talk about the buying process and go through those things other than just randomness within content. And that's where I struggle with doing, whether it's weekly, monthly, whatever the case may be, even reels. It's hard for me unless I'm just going to put a picture and a reel of my kids playing to some type of music that's just going across, which gets more views than anything that's real estate. Sure. But, like that's where I struggle. And I find it to be a limiting belief of mine on whether I find value in it or not. I still need to put it out there, but I'm having a hard time getting over that hump.
This is a great question and statement. So look, Gus, I'll answer this by asking Gus a question. If you don't make calls every week, what happens to your business?
You're asking me, right?
If you don't make calls every week, what happens to your business?
Well, in the background, I do the videos. I do all that stuff.
No. I'm asking you. So let's say I'm going to start with calls, right? So let's say you don't do calls on a weekly basis, or you don't DM people because you don't think they're getting value. What happens to your business in those leads? Do they dry up?
To the leads that I have existing?
Yeah. Well, no, to get more leads.
To get more leads, well, I mean, you're always gonna look for more business, right? So
I guess what I'm looking for here is, I can tell you, I've built a YouTube channel that it drives business every month, right? Every day, every month, I'm getting leads.
Right.
If Gus were to stop making his calls, he would probably stop getting leads.
Right. Yeah.
The question really is, what value do you put on the content you're putting out? Because if you don't value the content, then maybe somebody else won't value it. But if you don't do it, how do you know what is working and what's not working? The challenge is we have to put stuff out to see what's working, what's not working. If Gus did calls for 2 weeks, right? Or he just DM'd his sphere for 2 weeks and then gave up on it because he wasn't getting any responses, he didn't really learn anything. He didn't learn what objections were there. He didn't learn what would happen. So I would encourage you, Justin, to put the content out that you like putting out and focus on that and forget what everybody else is doing. Focus on the content that you think is going to be beneficial to your core audience. I'm going to let Melissa answer. Melissa, God damn, how did I do that? I'm going to let Marissa I'm going to let Marissa talk because Marissa does a lot of content, right? And her content isn't necessarily for me, but it's for her audience. Marissa, what do you think about Justin's question here?
Justin, I struggle with the same thing. To be quite honest, what I ended up doing was I did a 30-day challenge, and that's what sort of kicked me off on the whole making a reel every day. It was at an event that I went to, and Tom Ferry, and he was like, do 30. And I was like, no, I do not want to do this. I don't want to create this content. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to talk about. So what I started doing is just conversations that I was having every day with people about real estate, whatever they would ask me. I just had a client ask me this question. And I mean, if one person's asking it, surely other people have the same question. And I struggle with the same thing. I've watched Jeremy, Katie Day, all of these people that do these amazing videos. It's just different for me. So I ended up hiring a videographer, and what they do, the videographer, which you can have somebody else do for you, is they ask me questions and I just answer the question. So you could do that, or anything that you think about real estate. I don't know if you watch the Hot Sheet, but like on there, he talks about a lot of things that are relevant in the market. If that's your thing, Jeremy's a lot more informational than I am. I'm just like, for me, the way that I gain clients, honestly, is a little bit of knowledge and a lot of personality. That's just my vibe. So like, how do you get your clients? How do people come to you? Like when people say, Justin is the person I'm going to, how did that happen? Soccer game at your kids?
So I made a radical change in life. And by radical, I mean, I got I got laid off after a decade of working for somewhere. And I was like a real estate investor for almost 15 years at the time. And I was like, well, people make money in real estate. I'm just going to jump into this with both feet. And within a 3-month time frame, not only did I do that, but we also moved. So my sphere was next to nothing, which sounds like a bad experience, but the 10 years prior, I literally worked underground. So when people's like, did you work under a rock? The answer is yes, I did underground mining. So with my sphere for 10 years being absolutely nothing and we moved, it was like, well, this sucks. So I started a business via Zillow. Like I jumped into that straight from, I would say, 2 months of having a license. Now, yes, I still have Zillow business coming in, but we've slowly transitioned. I would say about 30% of our business is now Sphere, repeat clients that started with Zillow, so on and so forth. And to me, it just takes about a 5 to 6 year time frame anyway to get to that point, because most people, I mean, other than the COVID inflation experience, aren't buying houses year after year because the appreciation's not there. So I would still say about 70% comes from Zillow. Which this new law has definitely made that a little challenging, means that you're expecting to sign a piece of paper in the driveway with somebody you've never met. But other than that, that's where the bulk of my stuff comes from. And I do know that I might get 1 lead a month, all organically from SEO and whatnot of what we're posting. But I've never focused on the video aspect. So when I say intermittently, I might say, hey, TikTok, I've given like 2 months, 3 months maybe. And it wasn't, I want to come from education, because that's actually what our business model is we're all educational based. So then it comes back to, I think it's going to be a mixture of kind of what you're saying you do and then what Jeremy does, because I've watched Jeremy's channel off and on for years. I've known Jeremy through TF for, I don't know, probably 5 years. And it's always something that I would like to do, but I've just never, I guess I've never made it a priority of mine. And it's not that I'm afraid to talk. And you'll find that out very easily. And it's not that I really care, hey, what my appearance looks like. I'm a middle-aged, balding, gray-haired guy that's, got a little love around the corners. But it's one of those things where it's hard for me. So like when I said I subscribe to people, whether it's in finance. I don't subscribe to anybody in real estate, but like finance. And I don't mean like banking. I mean like investing purposes. So something where I'm going to gain additional knowledge, or something that I don't know, or tax reasons, whatever the case is, just how can I better myself? And then when people are asking for, the content that most people push is, hey, I just so happen to be driving through this area. Here's a new restaurant. I didn't realize it was there. And I'm like, if I cared, then I would watch and subscribe, not this is just fluff that has popped up somewhere. And that's why I said, with what you probably both do, that's where I need to find a happy mix. I just can't seem to ever get myself to finding the importance in part of it.
Yeah, I think so. I've been doing video consistently on Instagram since last December. And I will say I've indirectly gotten business better, but I can't lead anybody back to it. I don't know if you follow Alyssa Cornett, but she quit almost after a year and she gets a ton of business from Instagram. And she was like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I've been doing this for a year. I think it's just a consistency game. At least that's what I'm praying it is. It's a consistency game.
Can I say something? So
Yes.
social media to me is the way I look at it is branding, right? And branding does take some time, right? I post a lot on social media. I post about 7 to 8 times. I got Jeremy on Facebook. He probably sees all my ads. I post myself right now. So the way I see is personal branding. After people seeing it so many times, on top of that, I do home tours. I do what other realtors do, right? On social media, I post the tours, I do all that. If you do that plus combine it with some calls, that's gonna, you got, like you said, you gotta find that happy medium. You gotta do a little bit of both, mix it in, so you can eventually, get to where your phone people are reaching out to you. To me, videos and social media is a little bit too passive, which is okay, right? Sometimes people reach out to me like that, but you also gotta mix in a little bit of active, right? You gotta be a little bit active and call or meet up with friends or stuff of that nature.
And see, that's where I relate to you completely, because I'll block 2 hours in the morning, usually an hour and a half in the evening for calls, cold calling, whatever it is, because I do call expireds as well. And it's one of those things that I don't, like I said, and Marissa probably has hit the nail on the head. It's just the mindset of you're going to do it. It's kind of like somebody that wants to go on a health journey. I don't know too many people that want to go to the gym, but it's just making yourself get there, and then you've started and now you want to be there.
I mean, I don't want to make cold calls. I'm not gonna lie. I would rather make a mid video and not want to make it than make cold calls. But then I hear Gustavo's success and I'm like, well, I need to go make cold calls.
Well, look, here's the thing. Whatever we all decide to do here, whether it's video, calls, it's all about the consistency aspect of it. And I will chime in and just say, my biggest flaw, I've gone through a personal journey over the last couple of weeks. It's been very enlightening for myself. And I found some things out. I am not very good at planning. I am terrible at planning. I have the idea and I just start running. And then everybody behind me is trying to figure it out behind me. And so what I've done over the last week, and this is as painful as it's been, it's very rewarding. And Justin, I'm going to tell you this because I think it will help you. I've sat down and gone to ChatGPT and said, here's my problem. I do this, 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 and this, and this. What I need is a system for this. Based on everything I'm doing wrong, write me a system. And it will give me a printout a system, right? And so then I go through and look at that and go, okay, how can I tweak this? And so I'll take that system and say, you just gave me this system. I need to tweak this, 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 and this. And then I'll take it to a Word doc and I will hand go through and change the things and add everything to it. So why I bring that up is in your day, you're going to have to set some time for planning. And so in order to plan what videos you're going to want to do, you're going to have to actually sit down and plan it out. Because once you have a plan, it's so much easier to execute on that plan when you have the plan. So my recommendation is literally sit down, because the reason why you're consistent with video is because you don't have a plan. So, and that's the same thing with Gus and making calls. He's got a plan. He's got a plan. It's in his time frame. He knows how to do it. He's doing it. Same thing with his Instagram. Same thing with his social media. It becomes consistent when you make it consistent, but you have to have a plan. Frank, I have a question for you. You do video as well, or you have a comment on video?
Yeah, I mean, so I do video probably not off and on, but probably more off than on. But the few that I've done, maybe 10, really crappy ones. So like, I get a lot of people like it. They'll send video messages like, man, you're doing great, awesome video. And then you have people that say, hey, I saw your video and I gave your number to so-and-so. And, I think that even though they're my friends and they're my Instagram and Facebook, they know me, they're a past client, just kind of staying on top of mind. I think that's what the videos are doing. So Marissa, like you said, maybe not someone's like, oh, I saw your video, I want you to list my house, but I think it's just staying on top of mind to get those referrals. It's like a billboard. Like if you're sitting in traffic and you see, your plumber in a billboard, you'll be like, take a picture. Hey, bro, look at this. I saw you. That's awesome. When,
Exactly.
no one's gonna, yeah, exactly. So I think that,
Mhm.
going with that mindset, it's gonna really help out. And I bet you that even though you can't say, oh, because of this video they called me, if their referral is probably because they saw that video. It's all about algorithms. So
Just to add to that really quick, I actually just had someone I haven't spoken to in 15 years. I've helped them with real estate in the past and they moved out of the area, and I haven't spoken with them at all. Like I'll call them or I'll text them just to say happy birthday or whatever. No response, nothing. She calls me and she says, I've been watching your videos. She doesn't like them. She doesn't comment on them. I've been watching your videos. My niece is moving to Dallas. Can you help her? Out of the blue, I was like, whoa.
yeah,
Well,
so
Yeah,
that one you're gonna tag back to that one.
yeah, it's pretty crazy how social media works because, well, where I'm from is a small town. I remember I was at the gas station and this person goes up to me. He's like, "You're that guy from the real estate videos." I was like, "What?" I was like, "No way." It's a small town. Everybody knows everybody. So you're like you said, top of mind. That's what social media is for, top of mind and brand awareness, right?
yeah. And I would say if I didn't see Marissa's videos all the time, I mean, there's so many agents in Dallas. I don't know. I have so many options to send referrals to. I mean, Justin, I think that's something to think about too. Like you're in the TF organization, you're around this world. I gotta admit, I get a lot of business directly from YouTube. I get a lot of business from what we're doing. I get probably, I would say, if you were to take 100% of my business, probably 30% of it is from referrals from agents. Now, a lot of it's because they're watching the YouTube channel like yourself, and I'm top of mind for you. So realize the content you're making. I think sometimes realtors make content for other realtors. You eliminate you start to eliminate the people that you want to help buy and sell, right? When you make it too much about realtors. And so I think that's where you're struggling with some of the content ideas. So just focus on the people that you're trying to focus on that you want as buyers and sellers. And granted, I will tell you, everyone will pay attention. I make zero content on YouTube for other realtors. My content on YouTube is for my clients, and realtors will pay attention and send referrals. One question I want to ask Gus. I think a lot of it's what we're talking about is consistency here. How do you stay consistent?
Having your schedule. Like I have my schedule every day. I had to reread Think and Grow Rich, and he talks about being little bit more specific, and I write down and I have it on a piece of paper what I have to do exactly, what numbers, how many calls, and other stuff that I have going on with my life. And you have to be specific. You can't just say, "Oh, well, tomorrow I'm gonna call 2 hours." I mean, you have to be a little bit more specific and kind of time, kind of write down your schedule and be committed to it. You're not going to be perfect, but regardless, if you're looking at it every day before you go to sleep or when you wake up in the morning, eventually it's going to stick to you. So right now I'm rereading that book, and it has taught me to look at my daily things to do, and so you have to remind yourself. You have to find out a way to remind yourself. There's people who do certain rituals, and my ritual is just in the morning look at the same paper that I wrote 2 weeks ago, or to read it in the morning and read it at night. So that helps me. So that's my ritual. So I mean, I would advise y'all to find a ritual. It could be anything. There's some people who has like a little bell or something that they ring as soon as they wake up. Anything. It's just have some kind of ritual that reminds you, right?
You know, I'm working on something that's not real estate related, and so it's part of my personal journey. So the question I have for you, it kind of actually doesn't necessarily uh, relate directly to real estate, but it's something that's real estate adjacent. I think it's a lot of things that we work on. So here's the question. You're hustling every day. You're working your ass off every day. You've said that you spend time with your girl when
Right.
you're right, when you're not working. How do you prioritize relationships in your relationship in this industry?
You gotta make time for that too. Like that's part of my notes too. I put in there, hey, I have to take her out once a week. Right now she's pregnant right now. So it's very important right now to spend time with her. So I make sure to do weekly activities such as at least take her out, once a week, go out. We like to watch movies, so I put in there, hey, watch 2, 3 movies. Sundays, I typically try to take it off. If you can wait till Monday, I push it, Monday or the next week. But Sundays is usually the day I try to simmer down and spend time with my girlfriend.
I think this is an important thing because we start to strain relationships when we prioritize too much in business. Look, this is a stressful industry. We're always trying to create, some of us are the breadwinners of the families, right? Or people depend on us, and there's a lot of stress. So I'm just curious how each of you, I mean, I like that we're kind of very group focused today. I want to hear from you, Justin and Marissa and Frank and Kelvin. What are some of the things you're doing to prioritize relationships, and what do you think maybe you could be doing better? Because we always say what we could be doing, right? Or what we're doing, but there's things we could be doing better. I'm curious.
I'll go first. I'm lucky because my wife works so much that we're on a very specific time together. We only have a couple of hours before bed, and she's up in the morning and off. So it's we're on her time, frankly. I can be very busy for 20 hours a day, and she'll only be around for a couple.
I love it.
So it's funny you mentioned
Thanks for sharing, Kelvin. Appreciate it. Go ahead, Justin.
That you're on a personal journey to try to, I guess, put time aside, because as of this last week, we actually had this conversation and sat down on, so every Tuesday evening from 6 to 8:30, it's just a dedicated time for my wife and I. I've set up a babysitter and we go do more or less realistically whatever she wants to do, but it's just so that we can connect and I suppose have that alone one-on-one time, whether it's going out to eat, going shopping, whatever the case is. Just no kids, no real estate. I actually silence my phone, which is difficult because the watch on my wrist continues to go off, and it's like, nope, I can see that you're calling, but I'll get back to you in the morning, and then I'll just shoot a quick text message. But it's still just to the best of your knowledge, setting aside, I guess, prioritize time for the relationships that you care about, whether it's business, spouse, family, religion, I mean, whatever the case is.
Yeah, for me, it's just to be mindful of what's happening. So I have ADHD, and one of the issues with me is that I forget things. So if she doesn't ask me like, hey, what about your buddy Jeremy? You could be homeless, like, and I will never even think about it. It's like, oh, guess what? He's homeless. And I will never tell her because it's not how my brain works. So I have on my phone 2 alarms, one at 3 and one at 6. That literally says think and remember. So I just think, I'm like, oh, that's right. Hey, I have a showing tomorrow at 9. Or hey, I have, where you told me I did it already, like whatever. Because she say, how was work? Good, right? I didn't die, so it's good. And I didn't talk more about it because this is not how I think. So just adding, and that's one of the things I've done, even before. I was diagnosed with ADHD later in life as an adult. So I had a lot of tools and I had timers and things in front of my face here that helped me out with that. But I think it's just to be mindful. Obviously a lot of things you guys talked about, but I have to be mindful to know that even though that's how my brain works, she's still my wife and I'm still her husband. Even though that's the way my brain works, it's still my house and it's still my responsibility. So I think that when you realize that, in my case, when I did, that really changed a lot for me.
What about you, Marissa?
So
Jose loves his Marissa. So
I have 4 major relationships that I'm very intentional about. The very first one is God. So I have a reminder in my phone. Frank said reminders, and it reminded me at 4:45 in the morning that says, God, show me what your purpose is for today. Which things on my to-do list matter the most to you? And then I have another alarm at 8 a.m. That's God time, because if I don't have my prayer time and my reflection time, the whole day is going to be bad. The second reminder I have, the third reminder I have on my phone is once a week date with Jose. You know, sometimes we can't, you know, we don't want to leave the girls. I have a 13 and a 15-year-old. We don't want to leave them at home, or so we will go for a walk for an hour, and that's how we catch up. If we go out to dinner or drinks or something like that. But if we can't make any of those things happen, at the very least, a walk together once a week. And then the other two relationships are my daughters. And I have a reminder once a month in my phone to have a conversation with them about, hey, how am I doing as a parent? Like, how can I be a better mother to you? Kids are shocked when you ask them that question. So actually, as I'm saying that, I'm thinking I should also ask Jose that same question once a week when we do whatever we do. But so, I mean, I have reminders in my phone literally that pop up at random times that say, have you asked the girls that question? Have you gone on a date with Jose this week? I mean, so it's not always perfect, but that's what we do.
What,
I
what
appreciate
do you
that.
do, Jeremy? How do you
Well,
balance it?
It's I don't balance it very well. I take on too many things, and everybody else is left to pick up the slack. So my balance is not very well, and I'm trying to be more honest about my shortcomings, because we always feel we have to put up this show, right? Everything on social media is a show. Everything is the best of us, and so I think being a little more vulnerable to that is good. How I balance it, now I take weekends off. Before I didn't, and so Friday nights we go to dinner. My boundaries and my schedule are a lot better. I don't, during the week, clients take up a lot of my week. On the weekends, I don't let clients take up my time anymore. And so that helped my business or hurt my business? Probably not helped it, but putting in better processes going forward will probably help. So, yeah. Yeah, tough. It's a tough question to really like sit and think about. So back to Gus, dude. All right. So look, you're crushing it right now. We got a little emotional here, which is good. Let me ask you this last question. What do you think a year from now, you get a year from now and you've been hustling, you look back, what are some of the things that led to your success a year from now?
10xing everything that I have been doing. 10xing everything that I've been doing, and starting to talk to other people who are higher than me and absorb from them. That's what I would look back and say, that's what helped me be more successful. And just do what other people are doing and add a little bit of, for me, I added a little bit of Gustavo to it, right? Why reinvent the wheel if it already has been invented? Just copy it, dude. Don't overthink it. Just talk to people. It's not that hard. Be chill. It's not that hard, That's my thing.
My 13-year-old says, Mom, it's not that deep, bro. It's not that deep.
It's not that. It's not. You just talk to people. Talk to the most people that you can about real estate. That's it. If it's social media, if it's through iMessage, if it's through phone cold calls, whatever. Just talk to people. That's it.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. What do you got, Tatiana?
I just, I listen to all of you. A lot of things resonate with me for sure, like throughout this entire conversation. So my biggest thing I'm struggling with is consistency. That's been a challenge of mine relating to everything, right? And I realized, like, once you get consistent, no matter what you do, you get success. The same with videos. I do pretty good videos. I overcame the fear. I mean, at first I didn't know what to do. I sounded weird. I spoke the same words over and over again. So like I got that, polished that, got to the point where I can edit and produce decent enough product on the budget, but I'm not consistent. But every time I do it, just like you guys say, people like all of a sudden it's like, hey, by the way, where's this? So I do like even stories, for example, where you know, I go and show a property, I'll just stick it in my story, and actually do run Telegram and WhatsApp stories, because a lot of my clients are international clients as well, and, you know, Russian speaking, and they do tend to spend more time on those platforms. And all of a sudden people are like, hey, where is that? How much? Like, you know, and things like that. Same with cold calling. Like, I got to the point where I got an accountability partner, got to the point where she was like, okay, let's go. Come on, I'm waiting for you. It's like, just because she was waiting, I would get on the Zoom and we would do it. And I got to scheduling appointments and all of that stuff. But then as soon as we stopped it with her, a couple of days, I did it on my own and I started sliding, right? So it's like constantly, no matter what you do, it's like, that's what I'm struggling the most. So, and it's like, everything is a priority. And
Was it my internet or hers?
I don't know. I think it's hers.
So it means that you're moving. I'm going to go with her.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's in Florida.
Oh, she isn't. Yeah, she is. For that hurricane.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Well,
wow, yeah.
yeah, she's in, I think, Jacksonville, right? Is that what she said
It
last?
says Orlando on her.
Orlando? Okay.
Oh, wow.
Well, awesome. Well, look, any last questions for Gus in his hustle? Maybe some questions on how we can get back to our inner hustle.
I think the big
What's a
takeaway
good-
for me today was just more so just because, like Gus, I've stayed consistent with the cold calling and whatnot. I mean, that's what drives my business, but just being consistent in the other spot, because this is actually the second Zoom meeting that I've had about video today alone.
Oh, wow. What do you got, Kelvin?
I'm just, you know, the new guy who actually understands what the goal is in terms of a transaction. And I'm just curious about what's your best sources for these cold calling people.
Like what sources? I do circle prospecting. So I just call homeowners and tell them, hey, do you want to know how much your house is worth? Is there anything I could do for you? Skip is simple, but I do that multiple times, like triple dial. Eventually, it's a numbers game. Eventually, somebody's going to be like, yeah, sure, come to my house. See how much it's worth. That's
You
it.
said you were using Mojo, right?
Yeah,
Mojo
Mojo.
Dialer.
Do you
Mojo
use-
Dialer.
Do you use Mojo for the numbers too?
Yeah, so nowadays everything is popping up as spam. I use this app. I think it's called Call Burner or something. No, it's called Burner, and it generates 3 numbers for you. I have 2 phones, so this is my call calling phone. I connected to Mojo Dialer, and it's 3 dial. So it dials 3 numbers at once, and whenever somebody picks up, you just talk to them. And I think my script, the reason I do circle prospecting thing is it's a little bit easier, straightforward. Hey, this is Gus. I'm just trying to see if there's anything I could do for you. Keep it straightforward. There's many different type of scripts and stuff that people do. I like the more direct approach, and then from there be like, oh, well, how's your day going? I feel like it's too fake if you just call somebody, hey, how you doing? No, I'm like, hey, let's talk business, and then later we can talk about the kids. Later we can talk about that. And I think with my results, it has been working. So I mean, the other way might work as well, but that's what has been working for me.
Gustavo, why do you have a different phone for cold calling?
Because that's so I don't want my phone to be blowing up. I keep real business in here, and this other phone is just blowing up with numbers that are calling me back, and it keeps it different. I put all my marketing stuff in here. I post from here, so I delete most of my apps, like social media apps, and put it on this one. So that kind of forces me to go to this phone for social media only, because that's all I have on here, and that's where I post 7 to 8 times. Just Facebook post, right?
Kelvin, I didn't want to interrupt you. Were you going to ask him something else?
No, thank you. I'm just getting.
Okay. I have a bunch of questions, Jeremy.
Go ahead. Fire 'em off.
Okay. So Gustavo, like when you get up in the morning and you don't want to make these phone calls, like you don't want to do it, like what do you tell yourself to like, I got to do this?
You're showing up. What else am I gonna do? Just lay in bed, like go back to sleep. Just show up. So I force myself by going to certain places. So jujitsu, I'm like 3-4 months in, and one of my friends is in there too. So we hold each other accountable. So right there, I'm already committed. Right there. So that's already a big win. after that, I typically feel good. Of course, there's days that I do feel, bad. And sometimes I just sit there. I mean, I just go to my office space where I supposed to call. I just sit there, even though if I'm not calling, I just sit there. And I'm like, what am I doing? I mean, what the fuck? Like, I'm just sitting here doing nothing. And of course, I have my other phone. Like, I keep it in my other room, so distractions, right? So now I'm here staring at my phone that has nothing but realtor stuff. So it kind of, I'm either doing nothing or I'm calling. So I kind of force myself, put me in certain spaces where I have to.
So you almost limit your distractions by having the two different phones, because like one's a work phone, specifically marketing, and the other's personal. So personal can't interrupt you. Got it.
Right. So I just put it in a room across or something, and then I'm stuck with this phone. And even if I don't call, I'm just staring at the numbers. And at some point, you're like, what am I doing? Let me start calling. So yeah, I just keep it simple like that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry I have to cut this off, but thank you, everybody. And thank you, Marissa, for finally showing up.